Hi, Laura Gibson-Cuddy here, and welcome to my channel, where every Thursday we discover the art in life. Bonus points in the comments if you figure out who I'm cosplaying as for Halloween. Today I want to try something a little bit different. We've been doing classics in literature and TV and movies, and today I want to tackle a brand new TV show, Fox's Prodigal Son. And it just started this fall. I believe it's gone through 6 episodes now. So this is a great time to analyze why The Prodigal Son is gathering 7.3 million viewers. Why is it doing so well? It's the #1 TV show right now between the 18 and 49-year-old age group. Why is it so popular? And do I think it's going to last? Fox is notorious for canceling fantastic TV shows. Here's to name a few right here. Why do I think Prodigal Son might last? Well, we'll get to that after I talk about what it's all about. So we have Michael Sheen and Tom Payne as the main showrunners. But Tom Payne is really the head star in this series. He plays a man named Michael Bright, who is the son of a notorious serial killer, the Surgeon. The serial killer was caught with the help of this son, Malcolm, calling the police on his father when he was, I believe it was 10 years old. And his father has been in prison ever since. His mother, we don't know quite her whole story. There's a little bit of a mystery there if she's good, bad, somewhere in between. But she's a very overpowering mother who even has the keys to his apartment, the keys to his sister's apartment, and meddles all in their business with the excuse that she's a mother that loves her children and wants to protect them from the world that knows their father was a serial killer. So Malcolm Bright is an FBI profiler who in the very first episode gets sacked from his job and becomes an NYPD profiler for the cop that helped incarcerate his father. So the premise is interesting. We have your typical crime show where there's a body in the beginning. He's got to figure out who killed him, why. It's a great mystery in that way, I guess. This past episode, which I won't give spoilers in this because I want to entice you guys to watch this show and I would love to see it succeed. But in this last episode, I did guess who the killer was. There was a lot of red herrings and all that, but it could just be because I just love mystery shows. But it's a very compelling storyline in will he or will he not become his father? Michael Sheen is absolutely brilliant, and he does not disappoint in this show. I wish there was more. If there was something that I could really come against this show for, it is not showing enough Michael Sheen. They speckle him here and there, and that might be the draw of the audience. Ooh, well, this week maybe they're going to show more of the father. Will he or won't he go visit his father? Or will the sister go visit her father? Now they're going to have an episode where they're going to be interviewing the dad. And that looks interesting. So I'm really looking forward to next week's episode. And I really hope it shows even more and more of the father, because it would be neat to see more of how a serial killer survives in the prison environment, how he copes. Does he regret anything that he did? It doesn't seem like he regrets, but I would love to know what that's all about. The imagery of the show is clean and crisp. I really appreciate the contrast of the warm and the cool colors. There's a lot of grays and blacks, and on the opposite of the spectrum, there's a lot of reds. There's a clear defining of the good versus evil in the show. That evil is trying to overtake good, but Malcolm continually fights for the good. Visually, it is beautiful. And I love how the mother is always in these bright, vibrant colors. She always has this pungent, deep red lipstick, this burgundy color, and it suits her. The art in the show also makes it appealing to viewers. They like visuals. We love art. Come on, you're my people here, right? We love art. We love our taste buds of our eyes to be appeased. We love that the writing is pretty much on par. There are a few cringeworthy moments, but for the most part, the writing is done well. The acting is definitely on a higher level, especially when it comes to Michael Sheen. Please give me more Michael Sheen. And we have a very compelling storyline with the family. And it does portray this family portrait very well. And I'd love for them to even do a few other snapshots along the way, different viewpoints, different vantage points. That would be amazing. The Prodigal Son title is intriguing. It drew me in with the biblical references. I see it a little bit in the story because he's not doing what his father wanted of him, but I don't see enough of the parallels to merit this title. If you're not familiar with the biblical parable that this title is referring to, the prodigal son was a son that came from a rich father, and he asked his father prematurely for his inheritance. And then this son goes off and squanders all of his inheritance with partying and just overspending. So he becomes a herder of pigs, and he even says that the pig's food looks good, until he's like, you know what, the servants of my father fare better than this. I'm going to go and ask for his forgiveness. So he goes to his father asking for forgiveness. His father had been waiting for him and actually runs to meet him on the road, embraces him and says, of course I forgive you. I love you. And he has a feast for him, and they all live happily ever after. There is a few other details, but that's the gist of the story. Does that sound like this show, Prodigal Son? Not so much. Will the show live up to the title? That's yet to be seen. There's one scenario where it could go, and it would be very interesting to see this way. What if he wants his son to follow in his footsteps, but his son hasn't been following in his footsteps? He went off and is squandering the father's inheritance of being a murderer. And Malcolm is catching murderers instead and dealing with the right side of the law. And what if, as a prodigal son, he slowly reverts to what his father did and he becomes the serial killer? Well, then the father would open his arms to him and be like, my son, you now understand. That would be very dark, but it would be very interesting to see that as a means of ending the series or taking the series to a different level. It would be very intriguing to grow into that name. Because right now, I'm not seeing the name making sense. As to the acting, I love the acting. I loved Tom Payne in The Walking Dead. I actually really, really love how he's just growing into this character of Michael Bright. I wasn't so certain in the beginning, especially because his hair was shorter, he had no beard, nice clean shaven Jesus, right? But this latest episode, there's this one scene where he's doing martial arts defending with this one guy, and he's trying to decide if this guy's a killer or not. And he gets this glint in his eye when he knows he's got the guy's upper hand. And I'm like, oh, I can just see the depth in the character right there. I'm like, that is good acting. When you can get different levels of depth just in a shot of the glint of your eye, and you can just understand where the character is coming from, that's great acting. You don't even have to say a word. That's showing versus telling. And this show does do a lot of showing versus telling, and I really appreciate that. For instance, the mother, you just hammer it in like, okay, she's an overbearing mother. She's always in their face. But there's times when you just see the mother, the looks that she takes, the double meanings sometimes she'll say, and like, there's a different depth to her. I really love her because I hate her as a character. So that means I love how the actress is portraying her. Do I think this show is going to continue? Well, crime is on kind of a hiatus right now. All the fantastic crime shows have kind of finished. Bones is no longer. Criminal Minds ended last year. Elementary ended this year. There's no other crime shows right now that I watch. I realize NCIS is still going on. I never got into it. Please don't hate me. I think there's a few CSI shows still going on. I never got into that too. But other than that, there's just nothing good. I watched the first episode of Mindhunter on Netflix, and I realize this sounds weird because I do love The Walking Dead, but it was too much. It was too raunchy. It was too brutal. I like to leave something for the imagination. Please, I don't need every little gory detail. I did get past the first episode. I think I actually watched 3 episodes. I really gave it a shot. I just couldn't take it anymore. So there really isn't any good crime shows. So anyone that has a hankering for that, like myself, they're going to go to Prodigal Son because there really isn't any competition out there. So in that way, that's probably why it's the #1 show right now. I hope it continues because I see it getting better and better, and it was picked up for a full season at least. So I'm thinking it's going to continue on at least another year, maybe more. We'll see. I hope it gets better with the mystery aspect. But most importantly, what I believe would set this show apart from anything else is Michael Sheen. If we see that dynamic of Tom Payne and Michael Sheen just feeding off each other, the chemistry of the father and son together, or even the daughter and son together. I really like those two together too. Or the wife and the husband. In other words, more Michael Sheen, please. He is a fantastic actor. I want to see more of him. So I love this show in conclusion. I really hope it continues. I believe it will continue. I believe that there's enough of a desire for crime shows out there. We want to see mystery solved. We want the bad guy to get caught. But we also like to know how the bad guy gets caught, how a bad guy even lives after he gets caught. It's that serial killer in the family and that dynamic of how that changes the family, the nightmares, the issues that come out of this horrific situation. That is what will set this show apart, and that's what they need to highlight more. We'll see what happens there. I'll see you next Thursday where we discover the art in life.